Welcome to the Babies in Business Podcast. Join your hosts, Rachel and Avram Gonzales, real-life parents and business partners. Each week on Babies in Business, Rachel and Avram create a space for entrepreneurial parents to find their own way. They'll dive into insights on topics like leadership, efficiency, self-awareness, budgeting, and human psychology as they nurture their family and build their business. Here's your hosts, Avram and Rachel.
We're back again. It's Avram and Rachel here from Babies in Business Podcast. We are hanging out right now in the garage studio. What's that like, Rach?
It's pretty small, but it's great.
Speaking of DIY, we actually had these racks. Well, let me back up. We had these racks installed in our garage because we couldn't figure out how to do it ourselves, right? These overhead storage racks. And then we encased this area, this 4x8 rack, with painter's canvas, right?
Yep, painter's cloths.
And I've been working out here for a while now during the day when the baby's at home and you're at home and there's all this stuff going on. It's like the quiet place. This is your first time out here.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I think it's a good setting for this discussion around when you should or shouldn't DIY. I think a lot of people believe that DIY is the way to save money, and it certainly is in some cases. We're going to make a case for both. Times when you probably should DIY it versus times that you wouldn't. What are some of your initial thoughts on the topic matter and what we're going to get into today?
Yeah, I just think that there are a couple of considerations you have to think about when you're deciding whether you are going to do it yourself or if you're going to hire someone to do it. I think about stuff like time. Is it something that you want done like with some kind of ease and
urgency
timeline? Yeah, like urgency, and you have just a date that you just want it done and you really don't want to be involved in it. And then money. Is money an object? Is that something that would hold you back from getting it done in the time frame that you're looking at? And then could you work around that by making yourself available to do this thing? Mm-hmm. Do you have the specialty to do it as well?
Yeah,
do you know how to do that thing? That's
another consideration. Do you have any skill set? Is this something that you can YouTube?
Or is this something that you're just you feel like you should do it yourself?
Right. If you think about business, there's also the risk of doing it yourself.
Yeah, I think of bookkeeping.
Okay.
On the business side, I think of, well, yeah, you can do it yourself, but is it going to be done really well? And are you going to feel really confident around tax time? Or is it just worth it to pay a bookkeeper? My opinion is pay the bookkeeper.
You didn't get into your business to run your books and do your payroll and stuff. People, I think, hold on to some of those things because of, I think, control can be an issue.
Yeah.
Not wanting to release control. But I think
and I think also possibly visibility when we're talking about bookkeeping. They feel like if they touch every single transaction that they're more able to understand their books. But what I've found is I had so much frustration around seeing everything and doing everything and itemizing all the things that when we hired our bookkeeper, she was able to help guide us on knowing, no, it's really actually simple. We're just going to track the things that matter to you. And what are those things? And then you just get to let them guide you. So wanted to put that in there too, because sometimes we feel like we know how to make sense of the things that we're doing. And bookkeeping is this example. But hiring our bookkeeper has truly transformed what we do. We have cut services based off of what we track because it just doesn't, it's never led to more money, and it's not really a ton of money. And it's really a pain in the butt to render these services sometimes because they're super simple and you just get people that want this small service, but we don't really want to be doing those one-off services. So one of the things that comes from that.
Yeah. A lot of different considerations. I think we'll talk about some of them and maybe share some stories on the household side is one thing that comes to mind very quickly.
Yeah.
The business side is one, of course, that we play in frequently. And as entrepreneurial parents who are, building a family and raising a business, yes, I said that way on purpose, your time is stretched. So there's not a lot of it. And your resources get stretched too. You're accustomed to a particular way of life before, when it's just you and your spouse, before adding a new addition. And so your money can be constrained a bit. and then your time. You're not going to get more time as things go forward. So you have to really consider, quote, what is my time worth?
Right. And that's not necessarily monetary.
No, and I think that's a slippery slope that people get into. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I just think, like, for me, what is peace of mind worth for me? A lot. Peace of mind is actually paramount for me in a lot of different things when it comes to family considerations.
Okay.
I just want to know, like, for instance, like hiring a nanny. I want to know that Lincoln's going to have fun, that he's going to feel loved, that he's going to feel like he is the amazing person that he is in the care of somebody else. So that's my consideration. And sometimes you have to pay for that.
It's true.
It's actually pretty common that you have to pay for that. I mean, family is going to love them, I hope. But some of us have families that we don't really actually want around our children on a one-on-one setting. So those are considerations too. But yeah, peace of mind is really for me.
Well, I think one of the things that, especially in the entrepreneur world, that people get caught up on is, okay, so what is the value of your time? Like, what is your hourly rate? So let's say your hourly rate is like, comes out to being like $35 an hour, let's just say.
Sure.
People will say, well, if it takes you, longer than an hour and the task costs you this much, you should just pay somebody for it.
Sure.
There's a lot of fallacies in that.
Well, I think that can come into play sometimes, but it's not always like really accurate. I just think about, okay, so if I wanted to do something around my house, like replace my garage door, I think that's a really terrible idea for me to do. I'm 6 months along pregnant.
Yeah.
That's so silly. I don't know how to do it. There's a lot of things involved. There are springs involved in garage doors. Like, that to me is an example of something that I absolutely would not do. I do not have specialty in it. I am going to pay somebody to do it, but it is worth it. Because for so many reasons.
Yeah.
You use your garage.
I am not touching electrical. I am not touching plumbing. It is not going to happen.
And you use your garage multiple times a day if you go anywhere at all. So, if you go on a walk, you take your dog on a walk and you go out your garage, you've got that opening and closing. And so those kinds of things, I just think about less about what is my time worth as far as like the monetary value if I'm working in my business. But like, if I'm able to work more in my business because this task was done in a day, as opposed to this task taking 3 months and taking up some of my mental energy, I think it's very much more worth my time to pay somebody and pay that monetary cost as opposed to all the other things.
Yeah. Well, like looking at the worth your time and looking at, maybe my time is better spent working in or on the business.
Right.
Usually the answer is yes, even though it's not always linear.
Right.
I think the other things you have to look at are, let's take like mowing the lawn, for example.
Sure.
Somebody's like, yeah, somebody came over and mowed the lawn for me because my time is better used working in the business or making sales or whatever. But what they forget is that, would you be mowing the lawn in the middle of the work week?
Right.
No? Or like, okay, so if you're mowing the lawn on the weekend, and that's how you do it, are you going to be working instead of mowing the lawn?
Right.
Like, it's not this direct trade.
It's not the fair trade. Correct.
So I think that's the biggest fallacy about it. And it comes down more to some of these considerations that you talked about. Peace of mind. You might need some expertise to do that thing that you want to do.
Right.
You might want it done in a more timely manner.
Well, and I just think about all the times when my father wanted to do something by himself, like he was the king of do-it-yourself, and he would attempt to do something, and it would kind of get done, and then someone would have to come in and fix his work. And to me, I just don't think it's worth it to have the headache of, you actually do both. You do it yourself and then you pay somebody. But you go through the trouble of having done it wrong. So if it's plumbing, you got water going places. So, if you don't know, I think also kind of the consideration is if you don't like it, like if you don't, I enjoy doing projects around the house. Like I enjoy building things or organizing things.
Well, you and my dad ended up doing most of this little pathway next to the house
Yeah.
Installed a new pathway, the pea gravel.
Exactly.
Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, so your father and I, we get along really well when we do projects. We tease that you and Wanda just sit and laugh at us and talk while they're busy, painting or something, whatever that is. But we wanted to put up a fence in our backyard, and we wanted to make sure that Lincoln didn't get hurt. And I didn't really want to pay somebody to come out and do it because I also knew how to do that. I grew up doing stuff like that. So putting some fencing up, really not a big deal.
Yeah. There are some things that you and I enjoyed doing together. The fence was one of those that once we got the materials and stuff for it, it was like, we knocked it out very quickly.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, and then we have another project coming up. We love to play board games. Yeah. And we've found with a little one and board game pieces, they don't mix very well right now.
They're very attractive for little minds.
Yes. Lincoln is sub 2 years old, and he loves, we have a bunny kingdom. He loves the bunnies. We have other ones that have all these other animals. He just loves animals.
So colorful.
They're colorful and they're small and all the reasons why a little kid would love that. So we find ourselves not playing our board games. So we're going to build a board game table. You can buy board game tables, but they're either very expensive or they're kind of overkill, like way more than what you want.
Yeah.
But they have this there are 2 layers to it. There's the board game level where it's lower, and then there's like a lip on the sides, and then you put the actual table parts on top, kind of like leaves on a table to make it extend, but it kind of looks like that. I love to build stuff, and I'm perfectly capable. I can use a circular saw. I can use a drill. I can help you to help me, and we can do something like that. So that's a project that we enjoy.
Yeah. Well, it's like, what is that worth to you?
Yeah.
There are some of these tables that we looked at. Some of them are starting at like $3,000.
Yes.
And it's like, look, we are not in a place right now where we want to spend double our mortgage on a board game table.
Right.
Right. So like those are considerations that come in. It's like, well, we want some of the elements of that of that game table that we desire. Yeah. But we are not at this point willing to give up some of our resources to that.
Right.
When we already have a plan to use them in other ways.
Building a business while raising a family can be tough to juggle for any entrepreneur. Knowing where to focus and how to spend your limited time is critical to your success. That's why Babies in Business has produced and made available a fantastic audio resource for you. It's titled 5 Key Focus Areas to Build a Profitable Business Without Burnout. During this short training, Rachel and Avram peel back the curtain on their secrets to building a business that serves your family, your dreams, and beyond. To download your free copy of the 5 Key Focus Areas, go to babiesandbiz.com/download. Again, that's babiesandbiz.com/download to get your free copy. We hope you enjoy. Now, back to the podcast.
Yeah, and also I love doing stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm perfectly capable of that, and I love to sew. And building stuff with wood can also kind of scratch that itch because it's measuring and calculating and putting things together. So that's another thing that I enjoy doing. So why would I do that? I enjoy doing it. Does it save me money? Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't know how much the supplies are going to cost. It probably will. But I just think that's a good example of really my main consideration is, do I like doing this? Do I want to do it?
Yeah.
Are we under a time crunch?
I just thought of something else. I thought of like the reason I don't change my oil anymore. Well, the reason I stopped changing my oil, was because the last car that we had, the one that we just sold, the Honda, last year, it was very difficult to get to the spot where you would change the oil. And not only that, it would make a huge mess.
Yes.
Every single time. And you talk to the guys at Honda, they're like, yeah, it's just kind of like the nature of this beast. So we just started paying somebody to do it and deal with all the mess. Well, it's been almost a year since we sold that car. We got a new one. And guess what we're not doing? We're not changing our oil. Right. And part of that is it's not about the monetary value, right? Or that we think that our time is worth more productively. I think that our leisure time is worth more to us than taking the 30 minutes to 45 minutes to change the oil.
Absolutely.
On the new car.
I would rather take Lincoln to the park for 30 minutes as opposed to change the oil on a car You know, what is your time worth? Like it's worth for me.
Yeah.
My time is way more worth it to spend with Lincoln
Yeah.
as opposed to doing something like that when it's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
People can do it and they do a better job, I think.
Very cliche, but you can't put monetary value on that kind of time.
No, and they're only going to be tiny for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why do we keep track of babies' ages in months? It's because every single month is almost like a year or 5 years in our time.
Yeah.
Because so many significant things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So what are some things that you would never DIY or attempt in our house?
garage door. I would never attempt to do that.
Why? Mostly safety?
Mostly safety, but also expertise. I really, I want it to work better when we're done than before. And I am not positive that that would be the case.
Yeah.
So I would hire a professional for that.
Yeah, me personally, I'm not going to try to troubleshoot an air conditioning or furnace issue. Like, you know, if I read the little lights on there and I YouTube it to figure out what it is, and it seems like something I can do, like, I'll go that far. But more than that, if it starts to seem like it has a level of complexity, I don't want to mess anything up.
Exactly. Me too.
Anything else you wouldn't do? You just wouldn't do on the house?
Well, plumbing, anything regarding plumbing, I have zero interest in that.
What if we had like a leak in the roof? Would you try to fix it?
No way. No way. No. You know, I just think that it's so important to be willing to say there are things that I just simply won't do, and being willing to call that person that professional.
Yeah. And then there's things that are like, you know, I can't bring myself to pay that amount of money for that thing that I think about the backyard. We're gonna put some sod and stuff back there.
Yeah.
And we just decided like it's not worth it to us to have it totally perfectly pristine. Lincoln loves being outside, and so we're gonna be doing this project with him while he's playing around in the dirt, and we're just gonna make an afternoon of it. Probably call some friends and then just get it done.
Well, and we have a consideration too. No big machinery can go into our backyard.
Yeah.
Some people's backyards, you know, they have the big gates and the block walls and stuff. Ours is unique. It only has gates that people can go through, and then there's some different levels to it. So it actually costs more to have someone come in and do that. So, but it does really matter. Like in that consideration, do we want it done quickly? Do we have a timeline? Do we want it to look a certain way?
Yeah.
Or is this something that we enjoy doing? Lincoln loves being outside. So when he's outside, I'll move some dirt or I'll do this or that, and then I'm busy while he's playing. And it just seems fun.
And we like being out there in the sunshine. I know in the business there's a couple things that we just refuse to do ourselves. Bookkeeping we mentioned.
Taxes,
no way.
There's no way
we're messing with that.
Well, I mean, when we hired on our new tax professionals this last year, they actually found that there was something about our business organization for the S Corp when we elected to be an S Corp that was done wrong by our other professional. And I thought, oh gosh, this is amazing. Then we had another tax thing come up, and I just didn't want to deal with what code it was under, like all these different things that came up about that situation. And I was able to just contact my contact there, and they're able to just deal with it. So the piece of, like, at the beginning, I talked about peace of mind. I have so much peace of mind knowing that money is done the right way, taxes done the right way, bookkeeping, things around the house that could cause some serious damage are done right. You know, peace of mind is really worth it. Yeah,
and we've retained lawyers over the years for all kinds of different things, whether it's like contract review or, you know, even like a domestic dispute.
Yeah.
Like my past relationship, there were some things that, you know, with the split, even though we weren't married, there could be some different like tax implications and stuff. And so we hired counsel, both a CPA and a lawyer, to look over all that to be able to tell us, look, you have nothing to worry about. Just move forward as you are. There's no recourse here and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
And, you know, another thing that in our business that we do that we just don't want to do ourselves is payroll. There's so much about payroll. We have a payroll company, and it is so worth that fee that we pay them every single month because we know that it's done right. And that's really all that we need to know, is have the confidence that we're running our business the way that it needs to be run, and we get to work on making our products, our service offerings, all those things better, and serving our clients at the highest level. That is our most important task in our business.
Yeah.
And if there are other professionals taking care of the other things, then we can really rest at ease and do those things really, 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 really well.
Last thing I want to share about this with, hiring the expert, DIY versus hiring the expert, marketing. We're a marketing agency at Digital Harvest. That's, our business, and we help people get found on Google. And, if somebody asked me, should I do it myself or hire the expert? I would really say it depends.
Yeah.
Firstly, do you have the money?
Sure.
Are you in an appropriate position to expend the money to bring it back in? That's really going to be one of the biggest cases for, do you do it yourself or do you hire somebody? If you can't afford to lose it, maybe don't hire that company to do your marketing. Another thing that I think about is, folks will hire somebody to come in and run sales for their organization, right? Maybe they don't like the sales a lot. They want to maybe do more stuff in the business or whatever.
Yeah.
And my thought is that's going to be like the last thing that I give up in our business, because like the last role,
Sure.
Because it's important that we have the first touch conversation right now with other business owners, and we learn a lot from that.
Sure.
It's a valuable thing to do ourselves. Yeah, we could hire a salesperson, pay them a commission. They could probably bang out a bunch of deals, but it doesn't work for us right now.
Right. And that's the specific consideration that we've made.
Mm-hmm. Any last thoughts from you before we close it out?
I just think, before you endeavor to do something yourself, just think about the implications, time, money, and your expertise. And if it doesn't fall within the money that you have, the time that you have, the expertise that you have, find a way. Like if you don't have the money for it, you got to find a way to make it happen with an expert that can come in and help support you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk more about that in other episodes, I'm sure, about how our business is starting to actually kind of grow because of some of the changes that we've made. Even though maybe we didn't feel like we had the resources for it, but having that consideration of we just have to have more time. We need more time, and we need to pay to have that more time. We have to buy that time.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things.
Maybe that's where we leave it, right? That at the end of the day, you can't get back more time.
No.
But you can certainly use money to get more leverage on your time.
Right. Absolutely. And that's kind of what we're doing right now. So in future episodes, we'll talk about that because it's constantly a shift, I think, in what is needed.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear from you, Mr. or Mrs. Listener. What is that one thing that you or your spouse refuses to pay a professional for, and why? I'd love to hear it. Everybody's got their different thing, or like the father-in-law or whatever, that's the DIY champ. Let's hear about it. Hit us up on social media at Babies and Biz Pod. And we're still looking for those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a little comment on there so that other potential viewers might see it and be encouraged to listen in to new episodes. We appreciate you so much for listening in.
Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Babies in Business Podcast. Who do you know that would benefit from hearing this episode? Share it with them and post about it on social media. You can find the show notes for this episode, free downloads, and connect with the rest of the community at babiesandbiz.com. We'll see you next time.